It starts from me. I treat everybody the same, and I guess I create an environment where the kids see me doing that, and I hope that I am enough of a role model for them to look at my behaviour and think that this is the way that you should be acting. At Year 9 and 10 levels, students are more conscious of difference, and so my role in the classroom is to try and not focus on that difference, but to create an environment where everybody is the same with equal opportunities.
The children themselves had a very strong sense that they wanted to be part of the group of all children at school. They didn't want to be seen as different, they didn't want to be treated differently. And we had several students in our study who said that they wanted their teachers to have high expectations for them, and they wanted to feel that they were being challenged at school. And they didn't want teachers to assume that because they had a disability they would not be able to participate.
I've had Tamati for 2 years. When he first arrived, he constantly called out. He would never put his hand up, and I had to really stamp down on him. But that has had a huge effect. His behaviour has improved. It's just expected now that he puts his hand up and is just involved with everything, with the way that the whole classroom is run. That he is expected to behave, he's expected to do his work.
At the beginning of the year, the teacher needs to set up a culture that's accepted by all, which says that every learning need is different in every individual. That starts from extremely able students right through to students who need a lot of support.
Exactly. They've turned the tap on, but they've only put a little bit in. Why do you think they only want to...
The type of teaching that I try and do is differentiated learning. So I try and choose tasks that are rich mathematically, so that a 5-year-old would basically understand what the topic's about, but a university student would still find plenty of challenge within the task. So this morning we were looking at how graphs tell a story, and graphs tell the story at different levels of interpretation. Yesterday I had marble sliding down a ramp that I imagined was a skateboard ramp, and we were looking at what would be happening to the height was the simple idea, but what would be happening to the speed is a more sort of complex question that other students in the class will pick up on.
If you do a skill approach, you can cater for all levels. If you try to do one thing that covers everybody, it doesn't work. So my teaching is very based on teach the skill, then get the material that suits the skill at a range of levels.
This is your introduction.
I just read mathematically.
Students in our class tend to work together quite a lot in maths and English, because maths and English isn't necessarily for everyone, so we sort of like mix together to sort of like let everyone have a fair share of the knowledge that goes around.
So how are you thinking? How are you going to do your introduction?
Students who have to help other students, they're actually reinforcing their ideas anyway, so they're not missing out. So everybody wins when you work in groups. It also makes students recognise how other children learn. What they find easy, other students find difficult, and perhaps they then appreciate more what they've got, their own natural ability.
Maybe we should turn it on.
Rebecca has a little bit of problem with science because she has problems concentrating. So we always help her, and she really enjoys the experiments where we get to make things light up and stuff.
At first I didn't know what really to think of her, but after I looked after her a few lunchtimes, she's actually really fun, and I would say she's one of my close friends.
The most disabled I can remember in the last few years was David. I mean, David couldn't do anything in terms of a normal classroom, but he was with children. He was included, and if he was disruptive to the room, as he often could be, the support would take him out and let him calm down and bring him in, and the children looked for him to come back and welcomed him. When David left the school, he knew two things. He probably hadn't learned anything from the educational encyclopedia about math or English or in particular, but he knew that people liked him, and he waited for that each day. Now, I think that's really important.
Duncan was involved in the 3 school shows. He was a member of a school band and school choir. I remember one concert he was playing drums in the school orchestra, and I could say his timing wasn't great. He's a little out of time. It was apparent to everyone that someone in the orchestra was out of time, and it was pretty clear who it was. But no one mentioned it, no one made a fuss about it. And then the following term, the school orchestra performed again, and they did the same song. Duncan was drumming once again, and this time his drumming was spot on. He was completely in time, and I think that's a great example of you include a child. You may not get perfection, but you hang in there, and the rewards will come. And that that was also a really good example of a school putting its faith in the kids.
I can't believe how well it's gone. They listened. They adapted the school for Tegan instead of Tegan having to adapt for the school. Bayfield has just been so open about everything. They ask for my input if they think something should be changed. I'm involved in my daughter's education.